Hey guys, it's me, Made Up Jen, and welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another hair dye video. So today I'm gonna go ahead and use this. This is the Naturtint Permanent Hair Gel dye, and this is in the color Naturtint Wheat Germ Blonde. You guys have already seen me use this. I've actually used this already for like 4 months, going into 5 I think at this point, but this is the last time you guys are gonna see me use this specific color. There is a 7N. I don't know the name specifically of the color, but I know it's 7N, which is a darker shade, so I'm thinking I'm gonna go slightly a little bit darker for the fall. Even though it doesn't feel like the fall because we are in LA today and it is October and it is freaking 80 something degrees outside. I went to Disneyland yesterday and it was 90 degrees. It was so hot. But anyway, we're gonna go ahead and use this hair dye. And yes, I only have one hair dye. I have cut my hair once since the last time you guys saw me dye my hair with this hair dye. I kind of figured a way to make this hair dye last and go through my whole hair, but this is what my hair looks like right now. I'm gonna be honest with you guys, my hair is pretty freaking even. It's more on the reddish tone right now. As I wash my hair more and more time, and then obviously my hair grows out more time and time, the hair gets like slightly lighter, but it also turns a little bit more red, more like, you know, warm. And I know I can buy like a shampoo to like tone down my hair, but I have a very oily scalp and there's not a lot of shampoos that offer like toning down the hair and oil control in the scalp. If anyone has any recommendations though, please let me know down below. But let's go ahead and get started. So as you guys know, all of these hair dyes always come the same. They come with the actual hair dye in this bottle, and then this is the developer. FYI, someone did ask me this the other day on one of my other hair dye videos. I actually don't know what volume developer this is. If I'm not mistaken, I think this is 30 or 20. Don't quote me on that. I don't know. I actually have never bothered to like search or Google like what is the color of the developer. I do remember once seeing that it is like a, I think it was like a 20 developer. And then in some of my other hair dye videos, I have said before, oh shoot, I have said before that usually I wait for the bottle to warm up and then I start dyeing my hair. But now I don't do that. I mix it. Oh snap. I mix it and then I put my gloves on and then we get started. But this is supposed to be a neutral blonde color. Like I said, this might be the last time I use this hair dye. I'm not too sure yet if I'm gonna go darker or if I'm gonna stay here, but this is the last time I'm gonna stay this one for now. Up until now, I'm already looking into buying the 7N, which is the next shade down. It's just like a darker tone of this color. So I already brushed my hair, by the way. I brushed it when I woke up this morning. And yes, my hair does do that on its own. It has a selected section of where it wants to part. So what I figured out about this hair dye is it's a gel. So if you've never dealt with gel, especially like if you buy hair dye at the drugstore, when you see the drugstore ones, they're cream or they're liquid, so they're a little bit more easier to handle. The cream, you obviously know where you're going and it just saturates the hair a little bit more faster. And then the liquid, you know, you obviously can go through much more hair. For gel, it has been a lot of trial and error for me. I've literally been using the Naturtint for like all this year, pretty much almost this whole year, and it's been a lot of trial and error, a lot of me overusing the hair dye and not having enough to cover my whole hair. So if you guys are at this length of hair, which for me it's a little bit longer than shoulder length, this might get all of my hair. I'm not too sure yet because this is the longest I've had my hair since I started dyeing it, well, using this, I think. But I have figured out the way to make this last. I actually dyed my hair like this last time, and I actually had spare to do the rest of my hair. If you guys have seen any of my other videos, you guys know that I've been struggling to use the one bottle for my hair, and I don't think I have a lot of hair, but I do have a lot of hair though. Like, if you guys actually see, I have thick hair, which is, by the way, falling left and right everywhere because I'm super stressed with life. But I have a lot of hair, so because of that, like, I have thin hair, but I have a lot of hair. I don't know how to explain that. The one problem that I had the most with dyeing this hair is, like, I would put it and I would feel like I can't see that it was wet and saturated, so I would apply more. So last 2 months that I dyed my hair, I did not do that. I just said, screw it, I'm gonna put it and I'm gonna rub it and we're gonna just move on, because I know there's hair dye there. And as you guys can see, my hair dye my hair dyed evenly. But we're gonna go ahead and get started now, so let's go. Also, I got canas. Oh my god, that's how I also know I'm like, I gotta dye my hair, because I took out 3 canas in the past 3 days. And if you're wondering what I'm talking about when I say canas, I'm talking about white hair, gray hair. I got gray hair going on. I was so freaked out. Yesterday I did my hair in the car on my way to Disneyland, and I just saw one little hair like popping out that was growing out, that was white, and I was like, oh my god, I have a white hair. And then I tried to like pull it out and I couldn't pull it out, and I was like, oh my god, I don't have my pinzas, I don't have my tweezers, because the other 2 that I'm talking about, I took them out with tweezers because they're so short, they're like growing out, and I'm like, hell no, get your ass out, you know, like right there. I think I got one right there. Oh my god, I've been under a lot of stress, guys, like a lot of stress. I'm currently not working. So because of that, I am super stressed. I waited out about a month to see like what my situation is. I have savings that I was saving for a car, but now they're not being saved for a car, they're being saved for my bills and rent and all the other stuff I have to pay. And now that it's been past a month and we're heading into the 2-month mark, I started applying places, and now I'm just like, damn it, like I'm gonna have to go to plan B, which is go back into retail and restaurant, and I hated that life for me. I mean, look, if you've ever worked in customer service, like type of like you know, Target, or if you've worked the soft lines, hard lines, you know what I'm talking about if you've ever worked there. What that means, you know, sometimes you do it out of necessity because there's no other job, or you like your job. If you like your job, good for you. But for me, I hated working at Target. Like, I hated it. I hated it. My bosses, like, they expected me to do so much with so little time. And you know, people go into the sections, and like there was this one time I will never forget. I always tell this story when I talk about one of my horror stories at Target when I was working there. I was working there like, I think it was like back in 2013. No, that was with my ex during this time. This was back in 2011, 2012. I was with not my last boyfriend, but the boyfriend before that, and I was literally working in a Target at a mall, and I got the baby section, and I was literally just minding my business. I had just finished folding everything out, and I was just like, oh, I could go take a break or whatever, maybe go chill for a bit because I just finished my section. I'm just gonna go to the restroom and I'll be right back. But before that happened, there was a guy with his baby. I want to say the baby was like about a year, maybe 2 years. They were already walking. He was on the phone, and the baby literally just grabbed the whole rack of clothes and just was going like this, throwing everything on the floor. And he was just on the phone. Didn't even care that his kid was doing that. And I was just like, are you kidding me? Like, in my head I was like, are you kidding me? Like, look at your kid, bro. Tell your kid to not do that and help him pick it up or something, because I just finished and I think this was closing time also. So I just remember thinking to myself like, oh my god, there's a white hair right there. There's a white hair right there. I see it. Let's die over it, guys. Let's die over it. But I remember just seeing that, and you know, I can't go off on the kid. I can't go off on the parent. Like, it's against policy to like go off on people, you know. So I was like just staring and just watching the kid throw all my hard work go down the drain on the floor, and I was just like, oh my god. Like, and I still went back to work after that. Like, it was seasonal. I originally got hired at Target for seasonal at this one location in the mall, and I left that job, and then I ended up finding another job. I can't remember where. Oh, I was working at this is when I started working at the shoe store, and I was just like, I'm never going to go back to Target. And then I left that job, the shoe store job, and then I applied at Target as a last resort for the season. I was like, you know what, screw it. They literally called me the next day, and they're like, are you ready to work? We just need to do this and this, and you got to go to training, and then you're good to go. And I was like, are you kidding? So I had no resort, and I went back to work. And I actually worked at that Target for like 5 years. 5 years. 5 years of my life, guys. 5 years of my life. And I hated going to work every day. I literally was in a good mood, and then as soon as I would pull up to the parking lot, my mood just would go like, I don't want to be here. I hate working here. Like, I hate this job. My back would hurt from folding clothes. And I applied to be a cashier because I actually like being a cashier. And they called me to tell me, oh, we don't have a position for cashier, but we can hire you for soft lines, which is, you know, folding clothes. And I was just like, are you kidding? But at this time, I obviously needed a job, so I just said, screw it. But now I'm at that position where I'm like, damn it, I'm gonna have to apply to these jobs again. And Target, if you're watching this and I apply to you after this and you don't hire me for this, I'm okay with it. I'm 100% okay with it, because I'm literally talking about how bad it was with my experience working there. So I'm okay if you never want to hire me there, because I got fired from Target the second time around. I didn't get fired for like going off on anybody. I got fired for being late too much. I was late. Like I said, guys, I hated going to this job. There was a point in time where I didn't even have like the effort to really like push myself to get to work on time. So I started being late, and they would give me warnings, and I would just be like, whatever, fire me. And I had never gotten fired from a job ever at this point in my life. But yeah, now I have. My first real job though was at the Callejones. It's at the Santee Alleys. I was working at this if you guys know what bomber jackets are, well, they used to be called bomber jackets. Now they're the NASCAR jackets. Those, and then they used to sell chinchilla coats and leather jackets, and they would pay me cash. They didn't care that I was 15. I was 15. They didn't care that I was 15. They would just pay me cash. And yeah, the guy like literally I almost left that job in tears. That was my first job. And because I was talking to one of my coworkers, and he didn't like that I was talking to one of my coworkers, and he grabbed me by the arm and he pulled me, and that was the first time I had ever experienced like actual harassment at work. I have experienced horrible harassment at work before. I've experienced sexual harassment. I've experienced physical harassment, like, you know, almost getting beat down. So I've been working since I was 15 years old. I'm 34 now, so I've been working for 20 years of my life. And this is the first time in a long time where I'm just like completely lost in my job department area, because I thought I was good and done at the jobs I already had currently. But I'm in this weird position where I can't work, and I'm just kind of trying to figure out, like, do I stay? Do I go? What do I do? But yeah, the guy, it was seasonal also, and after that he didn't call me back, and I'm okay with that. I didn't want to go work for that guy anyway. He was a jerk. And then it was such a pain in the butt to have my mom or my stepdad drop me off at work because I didn't have a car. But I used to work at Denny's. Man, I could record a whole video of the 1 year I worked at Denny's. Like, all the experiences I had while I'm working there. Like, all the times people dined and dashed. The times my boss was like, it's coming out of your check. Or where they would take my tip money out of my actual check. That's crazy. Like, people are willingly giving you tip money and you're taking it out of my check because that's just how the job is. What the hell? You didn't give me that money, so why are you taking it away from me? That was like a donation, you know? I would make like $75 in tips, $75 to $100 in tip money, and so when you input the food, like, it asks you like how many are in the party, and then the computer would generate an amount of how much tip they would give you, because when you closed out the tab when they paid you for the food, it would ask how much tip did they give you, and I would always put 0. But the computer would still analyze how much tip money I would get taken out depending on how expensive the meal was. When I first started, I worked Saturday and Sundays in the mornings during breakfast time from 7 a.m. until 2 in the afternoon. That job humbled me so quick, guys. Like, real quick. Like, that's when I first understood, like, customer service. The customer is always right. And it sucks, you know, because there's some people that you know they should not be right. But because you don't want to get fired and this is the only job you have, you kind of just take it. And then I'm 17 years old. I obviously don't know any better than what I obviously the job before that at that leather bomber jacket place, I received abuse. So obviously I didn't know what was right and what was wrong, and you know what I should take and should not tolerate. But it was hard, guys. There was a time where, like, first of all, I had never been a waitress ever in my life, and I got put in the worst time slot to work at Denny's, because if you've gone to Denny's, which I'm sure you have, you know the busiest time to go and eat at Denny's, and the most time they're most famous for, is breakfast. And I worked there during breakfast and on Saturdays and Sundays, and it was the worst experience of my life, guys. And it's because of Denny's, and I also didn't want to work in restaurants anymore. So that's also why I went towards retail, and which is fine, you know. Retail is not the worst either, but at least, and the fast food place, I'm getting tipped. You know? Okay, so I'm gonna show you guys how much is left. I'm closing up the bottle because I need this to stay nice and warm for when I dye the rest of my hair. But we are at almost half of the bottle. We're almost at half of the bottle, which is more than what I've showed before. You guys know I will put some and I'll have like 1/4 left and I freak out. We're at half. So I'm gonna go ahead and put a bag over this, and then I'll be right back in 20 minutes. Alright guys, it's been 20 minutes. 20 minutes? Should I go any longer? So what I'm gonna do first is I'm gonna grab this top half first. I'm gonna grab this top half first, and I'm gonna start dyeing this top half first. Let's put this away. And we're gonna grab pieces. And if you guys don't know, I put my hand under here, and then with the bottle, I squeeze and go down. And my index finger is pretty much holding down, so I'm holding like in a circle like this as I'm pulling down. Oh snap. That wasn't supposed to happen. Usually the hair dye falls into the hand, so I just go back in like this. And drop the hair dye a little bit, which I hate doing. And then right here. This is like the perfect time to fix any mistakes that might have happened. And obviously we don't need to soak up the hair so much because it's already dyed in that color. We're literally just recoloring it just to tone it at this point. So one time, guys, I was working at Denny's, right? It was a very, very, very busy morning because, you know, all the mornings are super busy at Denny's. Like I said, if you've ever been to Denny's, which I'm sure everyone on here has, well, in the US, I don't know if they have any outside of the US. It is the busiest time of business at Denny's. It's in the mornings, and especially on Saturdays and Sunday, because families choose to go to Denny's for breakfast. So when I first started, they gave me one section, and that section only had 4 tables because I was new. And then eventually, you know, that time passed and they gave me more responsibility, obviously, and I ended up getting another section, which is next to the banquet. There used to be like a you have to walk in there. There was like a it's like a separate like banquet area. It was like for people who reserved Denny's for like events and pretty much for more than parties of 20 kind of section. And oh snap! And I got the section next to it, which had 1, 2, 3, 4. I think it had like 6, 8 tables. It was like the whole big ass table on the corner that seated like 8 people, and then another booth, another booth, one booth. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah. So I had a big party of like 12, and they were all there for breakfast, obviously. And I grabbed my food. I was in a rush, and I was just like, oh my god, you know, because you want to make sure that you're obviously getting the food out in time, because that's how you get tipped. You don't want to make people wait. And I was already at the table, and I had the tray, and at this tray I stacked 5 breakfasts, and then around them the pancakes, and then on top of it the toast to whoever got toast. And then we had these little they fold out. It's a metal thing that folds out like that, and you place the tray on top of that so you can hand out the food. Well, I reached for it, and this thing was heavy. Obviously I had 5 breakfasts on the tray, and I leaned it out, and I was doing super good. And then next thing you know, as I was sliding down, one stupid plate slid, and it's like a domino effect. It slid, and then it pushed the other plate, and then I dropped like a solid. I dropped all of them except for one plate. One plate survived. And then the worst part is, like I said, this is the busiest time of the day. But literally everyone in that restaurant at that point in time turns around. First of all, quiets down. Turns around and just stares at each plate falling. And I'm just like standing there like, oh my god, I almost started crying. And you know, I'm 17. This is my real first job, guys. Like real first job. And then out of nowhere, like at that point the table's like, it's okay, like we'll help you out. And then I'm like, no, it's fine. And then you can tell like I like have tears down my face, like I'm about to start crying. And I think because of that they're like, no, it's okay, we'll help you out. But then the busboy showed up, and then he started helping me because the plates broke. Like the plates actually broke. They didn't like just fall, they broke. And yeah, I had to my boss was like, I'm not gonna take it out of your check, but next time be careful. because sometimes they'll take it out of your check because it's like you're doing, it's like you did it on purpose, which by the way I did not. And then I had to wait for them to make the breakfast again, and then I don't think they tipped me because it took longer than expected, even though that was super embarrassing. You know, no se ponen a pensar, that was embarrassing as hell, and I got no tip. But because of that job, I never wanted to work at a restaurant again. So I actually stayed away from working at restaurants for like 10 years or so. When I was working at Target, the last time I was working at Target, I was actually working at a sushi restaurant. And it's like a little small restaurant. There's only like 6 tables. I was a cashier and the waitress at the same time. So I had to take phone orders. I had to take orders at the cashier. And then I also had to serve people who dined in. And that one was cool. I was making like 15 bucks an hour, but that was with tips. And the tips, they didn't take my tip money away. But I figured it was a smaller place. It was better. I was gonna survive the little restaurant, you know. And I liked working there. I made a lot of friends. A lot of law enforcement used to come into that job, and they were super cool to talk to. And it would suck to see them like order a meal, and then they would get a call, and they would literally drop all the food and just leave it there, and they wouldn't come back. So they would not eat pretty much for the remainder of the night, which sucks. You know, so let me know down below, like, what are your horrible work stories? Because man, I've gone through some crap, man. Like, I've gotten people fired and it wasn't like my intention to get them fired, and then they blamed me for getting fired. So I was working at this store. I'm not gonna say what store it is. So I was working at this store, and the manager was stealing the merchandise. And he wasn't just stealing it, he was literally using it and returning it and putting it back into the store used. And if it was too damaged, or like if someone didn't want to buy it, he would just damage it out and say, oh, you know, like he would pretty much say it was a display so that, you know, no one would suspect. But then there was a point in time where like I took out a merchandise and the people would look at me like, this is used. And I'm like, what? Because I didn't open the box. I just handed them the box with the merchandise. And I would be confused, like, what are you talking about? This is brand new. You know, we just got shipment. What do you mean? And I would look at it, and the bottom soles of like the shoes were used. And I was just like, oh my god, how embarrassing. Like, I would be so embarrassed, guys. Like, super embarrassed. And at some point, I was like, you know what? I'm not going to get in trouble for this crap. So me and one of my other coworkers were like, we're going to tell our boss when he comes and visits. And he came to visit, and they made us write like the whole statement and like what was happening and how long was it going for, like what did we know, what did we not know. And we thought we were fine. And the next thing you know, I go to work and my coworker's like, this is all your fault, I never should have said anything. And I'm like, what are you talking about? She's like, they just let me go. And I'm like, what? Like, but I didn't mean that, you get me? Like, we were both told to report it, we both went in, and why is it that now you're getting fired and I get to stay? And then the worst part is I got to stay, and then they promoted me to manager. They asked me if I wanted to be the manager or the co-manager. Well, pretty much assistant manager. And I didn't want the job. I was only like 21, and it just felt like so much responsibility for me at the time. And I was going to school. I was just about to start at Cal State LA for my degree. I had just transferred, and I just felt like, yo, this is too much responsibility for me. I don't know if I really want to do this, you know? And yeah, I ended up becoming a manager. The girl got fired, and to this day, I don't know what happened to her. I'm pretty sure she's doing fine. She like unfriended me on Facebook and all this other crap. And you know, it was never my intention to get her fired, obviously. You know, that's just how they handle it. It wasn't my fault. But they said that they had to let go of the whole staff because it had been going on for months and no one had mentioned anything. And I'm just like, I understand that, but she also said something. So why are you guys also letting her go? Before I became a manager, when I first started working there, I was actually working in the Valley as a line for that store before I moved to a store closer to my house. And the assistant manager was sexually harassing me, guys. He was sexually harassing me, and I didn't know how to react. I was like in a shock, because someone who has gone through sexual abuse when she was younger, like, your first instinct is just to stay like in a shock. Like, you don't move. You just kind of like, you don't know how to defend yourself. Like, sorry, this might be a trigger warning for some people, but for me, like, it was really hard for me to, like, what do I do? You know, it's a scary thought, you know, that stuff like that can happen to you at work. Now, you know, this was like I said, I was like 19 years old. I'm 34 now. So this was like over 15 years ago. And to this day, like, those are things that just, you know, you don't know it's gonna happen to you, and then it happens to you, and then, you know, you're the bad person for snitching. Everyone's just mad at you because you got them fired. I got all of my hair. No dry places up in here. And you guys saw that I split it. I got every strand. Right now I'm just gonna use whatever's left and put it on my brows. I'm a little scared because I just laminated them and the lamination kind of burned my brows a bit. So I don't know if this is gonna burn my hair more. And then I just open it now, and whatever's left over, I go in with my fingers and I just rub it all out, whatever's left. No hair dye left behind. Honestly. Alright, we got all of the hair dye out of this bottle. All of it. Alright, and we're going to go ahead and leave this for another 20 minutes. So in reality, the hair dye is on my roots for like a solid almost hour. I'm just trying to get the most light, well, not the lightest, but I'm trying to get it to lift as much as possible so that we can get an even everywhere. And when I say, wait, where's the thing? When I say even everywhere, I just means that the hair lifts enough so it actually looks like it's the color of the rest of my hair, because obviously the rest of my hair is lighter because I've already dyed it 10 million times before. And so, I'm back. As you guys can see, I styled my hair. If you guys want to know how I styled my hair, I literally just had it in my hair wrap. I did my skincare routine. I let my hair down. I used my blow dryer, and I pretty much dried up my hair to like 90%, and then I went in with my hairbrush blow dryer and I just spun the crap out of my hair. I saw this video on Instagram, I think, or on, yeah, on Instagram, because I don't have TikTok. So I saw this video on Instagram about how to use the blow drying brush to get like this type of wave. Usually I just flip it out. You guys have seen that's how I usually style my hair, but I decided to try this trend out, and I actually do like how my hair looks. So yeah, I'm burning up right now. It is hot, but this is my hair. You guys can see we still got some warmish tone. On the camera it looks more warm, but right here in front of my mirror it literally looks more yellow. It doesn't look as red. It does look more neutral-ish, like face to face, like this. You guys see it right there? before it toned down. But yeah, let me know down below what you guys think. Let me know if you guys think I should stay with this hair color or if I should go darker. As always, I will always link everything I use down below, including what I put in my hair. As always, make sure to like the video, and if you haven't already, please make sure to subscribe. I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!